Hello everyone and welcome to the Sumo Stew channel, where I talk about things I find interesting in the world of sumo that might be helpful to new sumo fans like myself. So if you have been following some sumo news lately, you'll find this commotion about Hakuho Sho and elder stocks. So in this video, I'm going to explain what this controversy is all about and hope to explain what exactly an elder stock is and why is it so important. An elder stock is one of the requirements to become a member of the Japan Sumo Association, or JSA. The JSA is responsible for operating and controlling professional sumo wrestling and is run by Toshiyori, or what they call elders. Toshioris are the only ones who can run sumo stables, or heya. These are training centers for sumo wrestlers, and they are the ones who decide on what happens in professional sumo wrestling, and they also receive retirement pay. And to become an elder or Toshiyori, there are essentially 3 requirements. 1, you have to become a Japanese citizen. 2, have achieved the cap in tournaments in certain levels of professional sumo. And 3, have an elder stock. The first 2 are relatively achievable for any rikishi or sumo wrestler who have had a long and successful career in sumo. But the third one, which is acquiring an elder stock, is a little bit more difficult. And that is because there are only 105 elder stocks available. And just like the rules of any stock, the lower the available number is, the more expensive it can be. Some reports say that stock are selling at 500 million yen. That is 4,572,223 US dollars according to the current exchange rate. So usually former rikishis who want to acquire an elder stock will have some serious financial backers just to get one. But in 2011, buying and selling of elder stocks have now been prohibited because of the match-fixing scandals. So elder stocks are now inherited or passed on to a rikishi when an elder retires mandatorily at 65. This retirement rule can be extended for 5 years, and that means the person will be 70 years old by then, if only approved by the JSA. It is rare for any Toshiyori to retire and make an elder stock available before the mandatory retirement age, but it has occurred a few times due to certain scandals. And to be honest, if I possessed a $4 million elder stock, I would be holding onto it for dear life too. So when an elder retires at 65, the elder stock becomes available and the JSA will determine the next holder. But there is an exception to the rule of waiting till a stock becomes available, either by someone retiring or getting kicked out. And this is being given an honorary elder stock. A very successful yokozuna, and we're talking about one of a kind, outstanding and had considerable achievements in their sumo careers, can receive a membership to the JSA and are called Ichidai Toshiyori. And it has only happened 4 times in the history of sumo. What's so different about Ichidai Toshiyori is that this stock is non-transferable, which means it cannot be passed on to other people when the rikishi retires. The second one is that it lasts a lifetime. There is no retirement age to this, and the wrestler that the stock is given to can retain their ring name. Elder stocks have a name assigned to them, and if the stockholder would like to open a stable, they would name the stable after their elder stock name. But if a yokozuna is given an honorary elder stock, they can retain their ring name and name their stable after them. Only 3 people in the world have received this status, while 1 person have been offered it. You have Taiho, Kitanoumi, and Takanohana. Chiyunofuji was offered, but he preferred the normal share, which means it follows the mandatory retirement age. Takanohana retired, thus losing the lifetime elder stock in 2018 after the Takaneiwa affair. These yokozunas all had outstanding careers and contributions to the sport of sumo, and even though there are no real written requirements as to who should receive a lifetime elder stock, all 4 yokozunas had at least won 20 tournaments. And this is where Hakuho Sho comes in. He has won 44 tournaments and is undeniably the greatest rikishi of all time. He just announced plans of retirement in 2021. So clearly and quite logically, there is no one more deserving of Ichidai Toshiyori's status than Hakuho Sho. But of course, we won't be learning about elder stock if there was no drama involved in this in the first place, and this is where this controversial report comes in. There was a report submitted by a committee to the JSA and was published that talked about Ichidai Toshiyori and proposed to take down this honorary practice, which means no one will ever receive lifetime elder status ever again. This report, which took 2 years to make and 51 pages to convince the JSA to remove honoring outstanding contributors to the sport of sumo, had other interesting points as well. The report claims that foreign-born stable masters cannot effectively teach the culture and traditions of the sport. It also claims that foreign-born rikishis are more likely to be violent and are less behaved. Because of the timing of this report, it was published just after Hakuho mentioned retirement plans, as well as the unfavorable mentions of foreign rikishis. Many see this report as just to take away the chances of Hakuho to acquire the honorary elder stock. I personally see this as a disgrace to the sport, since they have far more serious issues to address and make amendments to than something that has only happened 4 times in the history of the sport. It had been 2 decades since the last honorary elder stock has been given out, which means these changes will not really have any significant impact in the normal or regular practice of sumo. But it's best to remember that this report was made by a committee outside of the JSA. This report doesn't necessarily mean that the JSA will remove the giving out of honorary elder stocks. So let's all just calm down for now. We are still yet to see what the JSA will ultimately do about this report. However, it did make everyone talk about the elephant in the room, and that's the inherent discrimination for any non-Japanese rikishis in the world of sumo. Apparently, it's been happening for a long time. There is still a substantial amount of people who hate the fact that foreigners, particularly Mongolians, have been killing it in the sport for decades, and it's been rubbing some people the wrong way. No one can deny that sumo is uniquely Japanese. It is the only country where sumo is practiced professionally. Its history spans for centuries, and many Japanese ancient traditions have been preserved in sumo. And one can argue that Japan is as much part of the identity of sumo as much as sumo is part of the identity of Japan and Japanese culture. But does that mean that foreigners dominating the sport diminishes its identity of being Japanese? Will the Japanese lose claim over their national sport and its culture if Mongolians continue to hold the top ranks of sumo? And do rikishis lose the authenticity to represent a Japanese sport and the culture that comes with it because they are not genetically Japanese? At the end of the day, these questions are more complicated to answer than they seem, but they will not go away. There will always be foreign rikishis climbing onto the top ranks. To me, excellence in any sport does not depend on what country you come from, and wrestlers like Hakuho Sho may only come once in 100 years. But the lines between sport, religious ritual, and Japanese tradition are too blurred in this centuries-old martial arts that treating it as just a sport erases its true meaning and significance to the nation that has it as part of its identity. Xenophobia is a surefire way to turn off new generation of participants in the sport. And if the JSA isn't careful, all this tradition they are protecting will one day turn into a mere shell of its former self, taken over by racism and outright neglect for the well-being of their athletes. And with this controversy, they've added a new one to the list: discrediting greatness. thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. I really hope the elder stock situation has been cleared to anyone who might have been confused, just like I was when I first read about it. Thank you. I hope you subscribe to my channel and see you again soon. Bye bye.